Guys, welcome to this episode of The Lost Miner. I'm back at the property this week, and first things first is to get this place ready for guests. Our season starts this weekend, and we've got a lot of bookings heavy up front, so I believe Friday our guests are checking in. Today's Monday, so when we first went live with this property, we got to a point where we just had to say stop and just start renting it out. We got it to a point to where there was still stuff that needed to be done, but we went ahead and stopped just because we basically ran out of time. Anyway, the first few days this week, hopefully actually I can, maybe even by tomorrow I can have everything done, but I'm going to be caulking some areas that need caulking, starting with this coffee bar. I'm going to replace the front door right here. If you're building in the desert, I highly recommend getting an aluminum door. The wood door has been a really bad decision. There's been a lot of decisions we've made where it was expensive and it ended up not working right. And the door is one of them. So, it dries out so fast that you end up getting a lot of spaces on the door, where the door was made and then different panels inserted. Well, now everything has, shrunk up. So you've got lots of spaces and the door's warped constantly. During the season, I'm having to make adjustments on the latch just because of the movement of the wood. So anyway, just get save money and get an aluminum door and save yourself a headache. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started with caulking this coffee bar. Alright guys, I'm going to start out taking off the doorknob and the deadbolt. One thing I've found with installing doors, it is way easier to get it aligned if you go ahead and whenever you install the new door, if you go ahead and have at least the doorknob already on there. That way you don't get that misalignment with the doorknob and then the latch. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take off this, put it on the new door, and then take this door out and put in the new one. All right, I'm going to retract a little bit on what I said. I'm actually the temporary piece that's in there in the door. I'm going to keep it in for a little bit longer, and then it's got a knob on one side, so I got to take that knob off. But the piece inside is aligning everything, so I'm going to try doing that, and then once I have it up, go ahead and put on the doorknob. Door install is probably going to be a little bit tricky because I got to take off all this trim on the outside too, even this piece right here, but I think it's going to help me out with getting it sanded and painted before I put it all back together. One thing I don't know on these trim pieces, I got to take them off, but there could be screws going into the side. I've got this trim piece on the side that I think goes into there too, so let's see. Hopefully I don't damage it too much. All right, first of all, it shouldn't be scraping the door. I've had to take all of this weather sill off of it because as the door warps, it's actually starts scraping the wood floor. All these panels have separated and left big gaps. I mean, there's a big one right here. I've had to put caulking all in this area to close it up. At night, whenever you look at the door from the outside, you can see big gaps at the top with light, and it's just not. In the winter, it's really bad because you can the wind really comes in through all those spaces. I try to fix it the best I can, but it's got to go. The door, I'm just going to use it when we do the outhouse. This would be a good outhouse door. I'll really be happy once I have this door changed out. It's been a pain the entire time we've had it, but it's a little bit bittersweet too because my son, before we went live with renting this one, he came out here by himself. It may have been for a week or two, and he doesn't like coming out. He didn't like. A lot of people have a hard time spending time by themselves, just being alone all the time. I don't have as much of a problem with that, but anyway, he spent like maybe a week or two out here. He really got this door sanded good and put some stain and lacquer on it, and he spent a lot of time, so that's the bitter part, having to knowing he put so much time into it. But like I said, I'll repurpose it. I'll use it for the outhouse. And then the time he did the framing for that shed that we have out there too. I don't necessarily enjoy, I guess, being out here alone. I guess sometimes I do. It's just I can do pretty well going long periods of time where it's just me. Guys, I'm making my go-to lunch. Pretty much every trip, most of the meals that I make, I varied up a little bit every now and then, but I just make some rice, get some ground beef, cut up tomatoes, onions, jalapenos, put black beans in there, potatoes, and then just season it up. I like this stuff right here. The Goya sazonador. Put some of that, some salt. That's pretty much it right now and then. I like getting this taco seasoning as well. Putting that in there. And then the sauce, this is my favorite right here. It's called El Yucateco. My son, his favorite is Cholula's, and I really like it too, but this is definitely my favorite right here.
It's a little more snug than I thought. Only got it attached at 2 points on the bottom and then one point on this side right here. I think this is the first time it's ever not made a dragging sound on the floor. One thing I had to do is, one thing I messed up on when I installed the floor a little bit too high. So I actually have to square the door up, but it's not exactly plumb. So I have to have it slightly tilted outwards to get a little more clearance between the door and the floor, so it doesn't hit. I like for everything to be true, plumb, and square. This is going to be true and square, but it's not going to be plumb. Alright, you finish attaching it. I'm going to go ahead and put the hardware on now. Alright guys, I will take it. Okay. That's the first time the door has ever done that. Now, the only problem is, as you can see, it's not plumb. So it's almost flush right there. And then by the time you get to the bottom, there's a pretty good space. But it's all right. I'll do some creative work with the trim and get that looking good. Guys, it's getting pretty dark out here, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it quits for the night. It's a really pretty sunset today. Of course, the camera never does it justice, but anyway, believe it or not, the only thing I could get done today was, and not even completely done, is the door, but at least I got it installed. So my corporate job, I had to work a good part of the day. Plus, I sold a 275-gallon IBC tote on Facebook Marketplace, and when the people came over, we probably talked for like 2 hours. So, but anyway, it is what it is. Tomorrow, this will get done, and then start painting. Then I'll work on the picnic bench. Hey guys, I have the trim up, but this is kind of why it takes me so long to complete anything. I end up doing something that I'm not happy with it. So the trim's just too narrow. So I've got some wider trim. And one thing about it being narrow, it's not going to match up to the handrail where the handle is going to land either. So because the door is a little bit different size, I tried
using the trim that I had on there with the previous door, and it's just not really working so good. So I'm going to take that trim off. Shouldn't add too much more time. Got that. All right, guys, that's it for the trim and staircase. I've got it all sanded. I know it doesn't look good even sanded, but it's just really old wood. Right before I went live with the dome, I was like scrambling, so had no budget left and had some scrap wood. So, and I think that scrap wood may have even come. There's no telling how old it was. It could have been from leftover from our first property. But anyway, yeah, it's really split and everything, but it gives it a little character too, and it's still sturdy. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint this. I'm gonna get some paint, put some primer on it, paint it brown, paint the door brown, and then the dome will be good. And then I can move on to the picnic table, and then the stairs for the kitchen, and then the trim around the door. And then that'll be it. I'll just be cleaning up and then staging it for photos. I gotta do new photos on it. Do plenty of video so I can have a lot of content for Instagram. All right, I'm gonna get started. This out before it gets completely dark. I'm gonna try to go. We've got a new driveway coming up to the dome. The original one is just, it started eroding and it's really steep anyway. This new one's not as steep, and really any kind of car can make it up here. The first drop off we had it was so steep that really you had to have a truck to even get up here. I would just tell guests to park down on the main driveway below and then just walk up. But now we just drive up. So I'm gonna go set some rocks up, kind of marking the driveway entrance. Hey guys, I'm going to talk to you about what I'm working on right now. So I'm getting down to like kind of the final things that I need to do before we receive guests this weekend. The sink that I made, it doesn't drain. I guess it drains well, but within the basin of it, and I'll show you guys in just a second, it doesn't slope down very well towards the center, and it basically needs to be recessed. The drain needs to be recessed a little bit. So I've got an idea on how I can fix it. And this is just a sink I made on myself. I just bought basically a still, a metal bucket, and then made it. Anyway, so I'm going to take off the drain, and then I'm going to reshape. I'm going to take off the drain, and then I'm going to reshape it. I'm going to push it down, and then I'm going to make it recessed right along there, and then reinstall it, and then hopefully that'll make this a much more functional sink. All right, it is draining really well right here, but still, when somebody's washing dishes, I figure we'll catch right here. But anyway, to me, it looks actually better than it was before, and draining better for sure. So I'm just going to leave it like that and move on to the next thing. Hey everybody, good morning. Last night was crazy. So as it turns out, I didn't realize that I didn't have yesterday and today blocked on my Airbnb calendar. So at almost 9 o'clock last night, I had a booking request come through for last night. And so I was scrambling. I was going to deny the request, but I know that Airbnb frowns on that. Like, you have to provide a justification. You're showing people that you're available, and then you're denying them service. So I went ahead and I was scrambling to get the place cleaned up. Luckily, I had finished painting everything. Once they check out, I made sure to go ahead and block my calendar today, so nobody can book. And then we've got guests checking in tomorrow. So the only thing left there is to do is there's some stain and some varnish I want to put in a couple areas really quick. and that's really all I had to do. So luckily, I've pretty much finished everything. So I told the people, look, give me some time to get the place ready, and then I'll have it ready for 10. So made them wait a little bit over an hour, and scrambled, got everything cleaned up, got all my stuff out. You can imagine, have my cooler, food, all that stuff, and stuffed it all in the car, cleaned it, and then met them at the dome, showed them around, and I ended up just camping out here in the cabin. So that was interesting. I actually stayed in the loft upstairs, but since I've got some areas on the exterior walls that aren't closed up. You get quite a draft that goes through there, and it gets a little chilly at night. I didn't bring a sleeping bag. I just had just a like a fleece blanket. Anyway, I'm installing the loft net. So here I've got all the hardware laid out. This is the net itself, and the installation instructions. It tells you to use some of these lashing straps. That way you can get it nice and tight and then secure everything. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right, guys, the net's done. So last thing to do is give it a try. Pretty comfortable. All right, guys, I'm glad to have that installed. I noticed just about half an hour ago, the guests that checked in last night, they've already headed out. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the episode here. I'm gonna go make myself some lunch and then get back to work, and I'll pick up in the next video. If you enjoyed this content, please be sure to give it a like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.